Good evening to you. Now, my job as a reporter, as I see it, is pretty simple. It's to tell you what I think is going on away from the cameras and the microphones as well as in front of them. And there's lots to tell you today. But first, if you'll forgive me, I want to say something a little more personal, because overnight I've been reflecting on an interview I did with Max Hastings, the historian and former Telegraph editor, who talked of his grief as someone who loves this country, about how it was being made to seem absurd in the eyes of the world. Well, I love this country too. I love its weather and its humour and its buildings and its tolerance and variety and its beer and even, yes, its food. I've written books and made films about its history. Among my family who fought in the last war, we lost a Spitfire pilot over Norway and a very young naval lieutenant at Dunkirk. I'm a patriotic member of a patriotic family, and there is nothing about our current economic and political crisis that doesn't make me squirm with embarrassment and grief. We are a better country than we seem at the moment. And if you ever thought that politics was somehow out there or up there and not your concern, then I'm afraid you will now notice that mistake. Every time you go abroad and feel poorer, and every time you borrow money here at home or face bills here at home. What happens at Westminster happens in your house too. So what did happen at Westminster today? They say that before a volcano erupts, not only does the ground tremble, but you notice a funny smell in the air, a whiff of sulphur. Well, there's been a funny smell this Thursday in the Commons. Rumours were rippling out of Downing Street about a huge U-turn on taxis about to break, with corporation tax going up, not down, to calm the markets. In the early afternoon, the Chancellor, Kwasi Kwarteng, said in Washington, where he's at an international conference, that he remained completely focused on his mini-budget and he wouldn't be resigning, without quite denying that there might be a U-turn. He would tell us more, he said, at the end of the month. I don't think this will hold. Almost immediately after Kwarteng's nothing to see here remarks, the former Tory Chancellor George Osborne tweeted that because of the pain being caused to the real economy, it's not clear why it's in anyone's interests to wait 18 more days before the inevitable U-turn on the mini-budget. And straight away his old opponent, the former Labour Shadow Chancellor Ed Balls, replied, I agree with George. Meanwhile, in almost every corner of Parliament, one-time Tory ministers and experienced Tory MPs were discussing how to get rid of Liz Truss. At the moment, the favourite plan seems to be to assemble a fresh cabinet from different wings of the party and simply confront her with the fact that it's all over before moving in to form a new emergency government, even if Truss is still left as the theoretical leader of the Conservative Party. Outrageous? Brilliant? Impossible? Necessary? I merely report. But perhaps this week the King speaks for all of us when he greets his new Prime Minister with the words, "Dear, oh dear,